Hello everyone, we'll be starting the session soon. Yes, Maheshwari, do you have any question?
Can you hear me? Shravani, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Will you provide the details prior to starting into the session? How many days it will be? What are the timings? I mean, today, how many hours the session goes. Likewise, if you have any details, could you paste in the chat?
Yeah, sure. I'll talk to the team and I'll let you know. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yes, Aryan, do you have any questions? Good evening, everyone. Am I audible to you all?
Yes, you're audible.
Again, good evening, everyone. On behalf of ESL IIT Guwahati, I warmly welcome you all to the kickoff session of Product Matter 6.0. Product Matter is a month-long bootcamp that brings together aspiring product enthusiasts to explore the world of product management. Today, we are delighted to have with us Mr. Anjul Sachan. Sir is a product leader and an IIT Bombay alumni with over a decade of experience building product at intersection of technology, business and growth. Over the years, he has worked across organizations such as Zepto, Airtel, InMobi, Z5 and Times Internet, building products in advertising, monetization and customers experience. His journey spans media, telecom, and quick commerce, giving him a unique perspective on how product management evolves across the industries. Today, he'll be sharing his experience and insights on breaking into product management. We are thrilled to have him with us today and looking forward to an insightful session. Without any further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Anjul to take over the session.
Hi guys, thank you Shabni for the brief intro, and thank you IIT Guwahati ESL for bringing me in, and very happy to see quite a good footfall in terms of 94 people are joining. Very good. So you guys have recently started product management bootcamp, or is it like another session or another series?
Like
Shabni,
this
I'm
is the
asking to you.
sixth
Yeah. Oh,
edition.
nice, nice, lovely, lovely, great. Okay, so guys, the way we'll do the session is we'll talk a little bit about what PM is, what PM is not, what is expected out of a PM, and then we jump into what are the key skill sets which I, from my lens and my experience across, couple of years, I see what are the skill sets which are important in terms of differentiating you from a normal PM to a star PM or a great PM. This session will not cover a lot of frameworks which are easily available across the internet, and then there are very good people who have built a lot of frameworks to understand, to build cases, to solve case studies. My idea is to give you a very personalized experience on how I have seen what skills are important in terms of upskilling as a PM, or once you join any organization, what kind of qualities or value principles which are important. So we'll cover that. I'll try and keep the conversation, which my gyan in PPT, very short and crisp. The idea is to have a more conversation, and I would love to know more what you guys want to know, if any particular queries or questions you have. So we'll keep the half of the session more on Q&A and conversation. Half of the session will try and give some plain gyan. So if everyone is ready, we can probably start. Is my screen, once my screen gets visible, just let me know.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Great, great. So the idea, before we start the conversation, I wanted to understand what you guys have aspiration to become a PM. Why do you want to become a PM? What do you know? What expectation you have from the role or the position which you are seeking for?
Okay, like anyone wanted to answer this question could
Yeah, yeah,
raise
it's
their
it's a
hands.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Mm, can I see the chat if someone is writing something? Shravani, you might have to help me in terms of the questions, the answers people are giving. I can only
Yeah, yeah,
see my
sure,
screen
sure.
from the presentation. Yeah.
Epshita said that it's tech, user, and problem solving.
Oh, so you are in the business of helping people. Okay, let's keep the answers coming. I'll move on. The usual answers which I see usually are they're good paid salary. There is a lot of impact which you can create. It's a good stepping stone to l- eventually convert into a leadership role. You get a lot of understanding of business and tech. And then there are certain folks which says you're a CEO of the product. And the last, it's just because it's a new phenomena, people are talking a lot about it. Is it just because everyone wants to do it? We also want to do it. All of these are fair, expectation in terms of why you want to become a PM. But before we step into that particular arena, we should be aware of what exactly PM requires. So if you look at engineers, they write codes. That's their value proposition they bring on the table, and that's the tangible outcome you can be measured on. If you look at designers, they do design. If you look at sales, they bring revenue. If you look at finance reports. My question is, what exactly is PM bringing? PM is not bringing, any tangible outcome. PM essentially is bringing two things. One is clarity, and second is what are the right decisions to be made. And that's what differentiates PM role from any other role where you see across. Everyone has a very tangible outcome which can be easily accountable for, which can tell you whether you're doing right things or whether you are doing something wrong. But PM is something which is very undefined, and the objective is for you to understand what to be built, when to be built, and why we are building that. These are the three core pillars over which PM role is being defined on. A lot of people will say that PMs do PRDs, Jira, roadmaps, then designing, thinking of technical architecture, but those are just tools or medium for you to reach what needs to be built, when needs to be built, and why we are building that. So essentially, if you look at PM role in my lens, it is removing confusion and making the right calls, especially when you have incomplete information about the ecosystem. There is a lot of dissonance in different stakeholders. Everyone wants to do different thing and in a real time. See, my take on product management is if given enough time, enough resources, and enough, the right set of team, PM actually does not requires to be built. If you build everything that needs to be built under the horizon, you don't need PM. PM's role comes in when you know that the resources are limited, you know that the time is limited, there is a deadline associated, and then there is ambiguity, there is no clear answer. That's where the PM role sits in between. And that's what is very important for anyone who wants to get into this role, to understand this is what you're going to sign up for. While we have talked about what PM actually produce, uh, there are certain things which you should be aware of when you get into that arena. So don't become a PM if you want authority, you want clear answers, you want to build some amazing things, and you want to be always right, or you have over your experiences have tendency to feel that you are doing the right thing, you are doing taking the right course, you are doing the right study for it and getting the right grades. And I'll tell you, it is slightly different. Problem with when you want to build something, you're a C, when people say you are a CEO of the product, everyone reports to a CEO. But in case of a PM, nobody reports to you. The engineering ladder would report to the engineering head. The analytics ladder would report to the analytics head. Similarly, finance and everyone. The beauty of PM role is that you need to influence without any essential authority. You have to, take decisions based on limited amount of information, based on either your judgment or finding proxy numbers. And the last thing is I always feel is, while a PM, you always feel like I'll build these features. This is how the mindset always works, that, hey, this is a problem, let me build something to solve this. Actually, in PM life, you will be saying lot more no as compared to lot yes. You're saying no to features either because the customer is not ready, your ecosystem is not ready, or it is not the right timing to do that. Or it could be simply resource constraint that you don't have engineers to build something. So you have to learn the art of saying no as compared to yes. And the funny part is, in the PM world, everything is iterative process. There is no moonshot idea that you will think one night and then you will implement in the morning. It's always iterative improvement, and that's where the conversation is not whether your idea is right. Conversation is what is the right trade-off to do less wrong versus more wrong, and that's where your decision making sits in. So please beware, if you are looking for any of these things, then you might have to think harder that whether you want to become a PM or not. Coming back to, I've been talking a lot about making decisions under certainty. In the college, the mindset is, and this has been, I've been in the similar phase almost a decade back. You're being given a problem statement, a question. There is an associated formula or associated hypothesis which you go through, and then it eventually results in an answer. But in the real life scenario, the situation is not that simple. There would be a question. There are certain assumptions that you have to make. There are certain trade-offs. Like whether, think of it this way, if I want to introduce ads in a particular app, I have to take assumptions, how many ads I should show, what kind of ads I should show. Then there is a trade-off. If I show ads, would it result in a deteriorating user experience, user moving away? And by calculating these trade-offs and certain principles, I take a final decision. That's the journey looks like in the real world. So most PM decisions are wrong versus less wrong. This is the theme kind of for this PPT, but this is how it is. Uh, if you look at my career, if you've gone through Shravani's intro or my profile, you'll realize that I've been doing multiple industries across my life. I have done news publishing, I've done OTT, I've done telecom, I've done retail, a lot of other things. While these are the domain expertise which I've built across my career, where I now understand these nuances of these industries, but there are certain underlying principles which I feel are repeatable, and that's the learning which differentiates me at least from how I think and how I process and how I deliver the value outcome. So these are the five principles which I've kept. First is, how do you earn trust? So when I say earn trust, it is basically, uh, see, the human minds are designed that way. If someone gives you a problem, you jump directly to solution. But as a PM, your job is to first understand what is happening, build the right set of framework to talk and communicate to the stakeholders, and then eventually suggest your ideas. So it's not like that you join a company and then the very next day you'll say, hey, these are five crazy ideas you'll do, your company will become 2x of the revenue. Life doesn't work that way. So you have to earn trust and then think of building things. Second is the principle which I've always taught any of my juniors or colleagues is, we are restricted by our own set of restrictions, imaginary restrictions which we have kept for ourselves. I'll cover these in detail, but the idea is you see beyond the obvious. The obvious one everyone knows. You are not being hired. So think of it this way. What you are trying to do, if you're trying only to do the basics, obvious things, that your developer also knows, that your designer also knows, hey, this is how ad looks like. There is a banner, there is someone clicks on it, it takes you to a website. This is a very basic of it. But is banner the right ad format, or is video the right ad format, or is something different which is the right ad format? That's what you bring in. So you have to look beyond the obvious. Third is think in systems. And when you think in systems, you should have the capability to zoom in and zoom out. If you are looking only in the broken bone ecosystem, it would be very difficult for you to think long term, to think structurally. So I'll cover that. How do you think in systems? Fourth is, while you have done all of this, there's still a lot of ambiguity. Is there a way for you to quantify it so that your decision making betters? And the last is again, how do I convert all of this to decide with less set of variables? And like told you before, my idea is not to teach you frameworks. I'm pretty much sure that you'll find a lot of information, a lot of videos in the open internet which you can learn. The idea is, how do you do the right set of judgment? How do you build that mindset for you to become better at the product management skill set? So we'll cover these five skill sets and we'll touch upon each of them. The first is on trust. So there are three stages of how I look at career progression, and it is pretty much applicable to PM as well as general. One is the, whenever you are in a meeting room or when you're in a discussion, you need to first understand why things are being done. Whatever has been done, there is a rationale why it has been done. It could be right, it could be wrong. But if you don't understand then why, you will never reach to what needs to be built and when needs to be built. So there is a three-step journey around why something is being done. Second is you understand how things are being done. And last is the eventual goal where you want to reach is what and when. But it's a step journey. Most of these students which I've seen in my career is they directly jump to stage 3 because it's how we are designed it. मैं बताता हूँ आपको कि सर ये ऐसा अगर आप बटन इधर चेंज कर देंगे ना तो सडनली आपका सब्सक्रिप्शन बढ़ जाएगा. This is how we all are trained, that we jump directly to what needs to be built. But if you do not build that curiosity, what would happen is you will enter into the room, you start giving ideas, people will start judging, why is he saying this? Why is this happening? Instead of, what does this guy thinks? His opinion matters because he's thinking it through, he's asking the right set of questions. While this looks like a very simple, obvious thing, but it takes a lot of time for you to earn trust and build the ecosystem where everyone can rely upon you to build a product feature, to build a project, to ship a project, or to eventually lead overall business or a product portfolio. So start this with first, that you need to earn trust, and it can be done in different languages. Yes, expertise is important, context is important. That will definitely earn you respect. But your curiosity, your resilience, and reliability will earn you trust. And you need to initially focus on these things. Once you know that everyone trusts you, then you can say a lot of ideas which you feel needs to be implemented, a lot of shortcomings which you feel from your point of view. But if you directly jump into it, would be difficult. So untrust is the first skill which I feel is very underlying and very important. Second, we want to touch upon see beyond the obvious. Let's just do a small thinking exercise. Assume that there is an app which helps people to sleep. Here are different mediums they help in terms of they would have ASMR audios, they would have how to sleep, what is the right posture videos, they would have a lot of yoga and wellness, communication in terms of audio, video, and text. So, how do you monetize a sleep app? Would someone like to guess or think of how do you monetize that?
You can just drop your answers in chat box.
We'll take 1 minute. I would love to know your thoughts.
Jeet is saying that sync it to some device.
Okay, but what eventually are you going to earn money for? This is an intermediary step that you have synced it to some device, but what that device would do. See, someone has given premium for ASMR or meditation session. Gamification is one, but mostly, see, you're getting confused between targeting the insomnia patient. This is the user base you're talking about. I'm saying user base is already established. There are assume 1 million users. What you're now focusing on, how do I earn money out of it? Advertising is one, subscription another. See, creates a free demo then paid version. This is your GTM strategy. So when you go, how do you go to market? Say that I don't want users to pay right now. I want them to pay eventually, but let's get them hooked. But it's not a monetization strategy. Insurance is another, a very interesting one. See, after monitoring the sleep cycle, this is a feature. Anyways, let's go back. Is my screen again visible?
Yes, sir.
See, the
So
most of the,
Maheshwari wanted to
yeah,
ask something.
yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah, Maheshwari.
I just want hi Anjul. I want to
Yeah,
provide the answer. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, monetization mostly like we'll have the basic features which will like useful to the people. So like it's not just confined to the basics. Like it'll track all the sleep history or like which will be used for like alarm or sleep tracking, uh, everything like which is like basic. And once they used to it, we'll have an advanced version like premium version, like we'll give the stats, we'll integrate smart features.
Hmm. Right.
So
So what you explained to me are more features which can be packaged under a subscription product. So like, hey, you pay 200 rupees per month, or whatever that number is, and these are the features you'll get unlocked. That's a very traditional subscription monetization, right?
yes.
Right. Someone also mentioned insurance, and I think someone mentioned ads. So these are the three which we could take away from it. And surprisingly, these are the most obvious ones. But if you go beyond and think that is it actually the sleep app which you are up monetizing for, or we are actually monetizing better sleep. So like right now, I've told you these are the audio and video mediums for you to help sleep better. But the idea is, or your core user base is people who are not able to sleep. How this app is helping them to sleep. So now, if you take one step back and say that this is not a traditional OTT platform where I can charge subscription or I can charge ads. See, ads, if you do, it's a very deteriorating experience. Imagine you're trying to sleep and suddenly Ranveer Singh started shouting on top of his voice, selling some random product to you. That's a bad experience. So the reason why I brought this idea is just to give you a jolt saying that, hey, if you think beyond obvious and if you start looking at what is the core value principle, which is you better sleep. So can I, if I'm talking about better sleep, can I sell mattresses? Can I sell pillows? Can I sell wellness programs, different set of oils, massagers, plethora of things? Suddenly monetization became beyond your traditional ऐप है तो सब्सक्रिप्शन कर लेते हैं या तो एड्स कर लेते हैं and that is the idea. A good PM think beyond the obvious and understand what is the core value proposition. The core value proposition is not the audio videos or the systematic programs which you're doing, right? So this is how, so this is one idea. Another idea will I'll quickly touch upon is everyone has heard of Truecaller, right? They have two sets of monetization. One is they show ads when someone calls you. They show certain banner ads. If you search for someone's profile on the number, you get to see certain video ads and then you move on. And then they also sell certain subscription products in terms of ad-free experience or by default caller identity and couple of others. What exactly is Truecaller? They are not an app for ads plus subscription. They are essentially an identity platform. What they have done is they now know 300, 500 million users, who they are, what their name is, uh, what background they come from. Is the person selling, doing delivery on Swiggy? Is the person a Myntra delivery guy? And so on and so forth. So now, the moment you again went slightly deeper and understand what exactly is the value proposition, then you can think of monetization ideas. Imagine they open a blue collar marketplace. Like I want to find, let's say, a electrician to repair my AC. I can search for that and find who is the locally available. Right now, I only have option to go to probably Urban Company or Urban Clap to search for these folks, or maybe a couple of others. But this again opens a different opportunity. So this is the core genesis behind thinking beyond the obvious. The I've taken the example from the monetization perspective, given that that's my experience, but this skill set is pretty much applicable across different categories, across different industries. So innovation, when we say, is not always about answering the best, solution. It's sometimes also changing the mindset and asking the right questions. So once you do that, you understand that, hey, what I'm trying to do. And there is another variable where uh, thematic which I always follow is solve needs, not wants. So when I say this means is you need to learn the art of differentiating whether it is a genuine need of the end customer who is consuming your product, or is it just a wish list or a laundry list of features that could be there. And it takes a lot of time, practice and repetition to understand the difference between there are a lot of frameworks. The usual one which I always follow is asking five whys. If you go deeper, why we are doing this, what would it lead to, what value it will income, and then you do it within five. If your statement of your proposition remains same for those five whys, then probably you're on the right track. But if your answer changes every why, that means you're not clear of why you're doing something and what needs to be done. So maybe you need to go back on your drawing board and then think in a clearer way and then come back. Another important thing is think in systems. So like I explained, you need to be able to connect different components and then also go zoom in, zoom out very fast. That you're able to understand, go deep into a certain subcomponent and then also go have a look at 30,000 feet and then say that this is how collectively it looks like. So I'll give you an example. So when we talk about Airtel, so like Airtel as an organization, it's a telecom everyone knows, but they also have a lot of other businesses. Like they have an identity business where they help verification of the user, whether the user who is calling is the actual user or with the user who is using the app is the actually intended one. They have an ads business. They have a fintech business where they disperse different fintech properties, could be credit card, could be loans, could be other things. They have a communication business where they send promotional service and utility messages, WhatsApps for different brands and advertisers. Then they also have recently launched a fraud detection business, right? If you look at it in terms of systems, right now it looks like these are, five different businesses which are running different value proposition. But the moment you zoom out, you'll start realizing these are essentially audiences. If I look at demographic of a particular user, so you have 350 million users. If you know their demographic, which means you know their name, you know where they live, you know their gender, age, and other demographic entities, you have essentially solved an identity problem, right? If you understand their behavior, what kind of brands they interact with, what kind of products they have purchased, you know behavior, this leads to ads business. And similarly for fintech and communication. So now you suddenly realize that, hey, if I would have been a good PM, I would have created a central audience layer and created vertical business on top of it. And then we'll go deep into it. Let's say when I'm saying identity, it could be cross device identity, it could be cross user versus consumer identity. This is a deeper view, and then there is a broader view where we're talking about this is audience monetization as a business. This is not five different businesses, and I'll build product and my product team according to this framework rather than hiring separate teams for all of these five or building separate products for all of these five. So this is the third skill of thinking in systems, capability to zoom in and zoom out. The next one is also very important, is quantifying ambiguity. See, a lot of times you would not have the liberty of having everything in your hand to take the right decision. How do you what are the so there are two things which will help you. One is quantification of and identifying what is the key matrix which or key lever which moves the needle for me. Another is, if there is something which is very subjective, have you associated it with the right principle, and together these eventually helps you in the right decision making. So I'll touch base on the quantify ambiguity. Let's take again a small example. Should Zepto show more ads? See, if I go and talk to my sales guy who is selling ads, he'll say, yeah, yeah, please, this is what I want. Today my revenue is X. If you do this, my revenue would suddenly be 2X. I'm very happy. If you go and talk to, let's say, a consumer experience product who is looking at the app search or app engagement, you'll say, no, 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 don't show more ads. My users would run away or they would be irritated and they would not do the intended purpose. And similarly, if you go and talk to different stakeholders, everyone has different voice, everyone has a different opinion. So how do you then arrive to a conclusion? How do you say that, hey, this is what we need to do? That's where the art of identifying what is the right lever and then knowing, if I move this lever, what is the trade-off or what is the uptake and the downtake I'm going to take. So I'll quickly take an example. When we say revenue is essentially the number of ads being shown into the value of those ads. But if I distribute the number of ads, it goes into how many users are coming, which is your DAO, how many times they are coming, what is the ad density for those users, how many ads I'm showing, and then the price. So if assume that if I go with the first thing, let's add more ads to the platform, you would say that I'll increase the ad density. It should increase the revenue. I'm happy. Let's go ahead and do it. But a good PM would also look at system view. While I've added the ad density, is it going to decrease my DAO? Is it going to decrease my sessions? That would eventually result in long-term losing value proposition as compared to gaining revenue. And that's the way you define. So now what I've started with is, should we show more ads to actual numbers? Saying that, hey, if I increase ad density by 10%, my DAO will reduce by 2%. As long as the checksum game is either checksum game is positive or you're eventually net positive, you would be okay taking that trade-off. But if you feel that the DAO decrease is resulting in overall decrease of revenue, even though we have increased the ad density, you will not go ahead and say will not add increase the ad. So this is how you quantify. While I've taken the example in the monetization space, this is pretty much applicable across industries. Like you have to identify what is your key metric. What are you trying to optimize? And if I move that metric, what is going to be impacted? So whenever you are next time in a conversation wearing your PM hat, remember that you discuss levers, you understand KPIs, and you optimize global. You do not optimize local. Like while ad density increase here is a good way of increasing revenue, but overall it is resulting in a net loss. The last one, the decide under uncertainty. See, I'll take an example. Assume you have just joined the company and your manager comes up and says, hey, we are planning to introduce ads in the ecosystem. Should we build an ad server of our own or should we buy from outside? Again, the similar conversation, there are different stakeholders. Sales would say, sign the vendor, let's go live, and we'll generate revenue. Engineering, by virtue of their position, will say we would lose control, so we would want to build it on our own, and we will measure the outcome better. We'll create the better, robust product as compared to outside. CFO again would go from their lens. They will say, what is the capital expenditure that I need to do? What is the license cost? How much the ROI would be if I build? What is the ROI after a certain point? If I buy, what is the ROI after a certain point? CEO again could ask you that all of this mumbo jumbo is fine. When is the revenue coming? When can I see those numbers on my Excel sheet or my reports? So see, what is happening here is for a small decision, there are different opinions. How do I decide? There is one part which we've covered before is you quantify the ambiguity. The another part is if things you have done the quantification, how do you build value principles which helps you take better decisions? So that's where the call comes in is you would calculate, hey, if I build today, start building today, assume it takes 6 months to build. So then there's 6 months, I need to deploy the amount of people, their money, and then I also will lose an opportunity cost because my ads will start serving after 6 months. So this is the number you know. If I buy, there is a certain cost as a licensing cost which I'll pay or whatever capex cost I'll pay. I'll compare these two numbers and then differentiate what is the right way to go. How many months I can get to build and in parallel buy the product and start consuming. So buying the product will help you increase the revenue, reduce the effort or pressure on the team to build it. They can build it in parallel. And then you also need to understand the differentiating value proposition. So if let's say we're talking about in the monetization space, ad server is pretty much standard. If you use Google's ad server or you use any third party platform, a request is being made and ad is being served. So this infrastructure is very same. So even if I build it or someone else is building, so there is no value proposition which I am actually building. But if we talk about recommendation, if we talk about personalization, ad format, this is my forte. So I need to know that recommendation part I need to build on my own. Ad server, I can actually take it from outside. And that's where the value proposition comes in that you are able to take the right decision based on quantification, based on value principles. Together, you can move towards a decision. And by the way, the last thing which people don't talk about is if you keep on sitting for 3 months doing all of this discussion and then there is no movement, that is also a poor expectation from a PM. So the idea is you move based on certain principles and certain data. And that's the actual role which you'll be doing day in, day out. So there's the five principles which I've talked about. On trust, see beyond the obvious, think in systems, quantify ambiguity, and decide under uncertainty. If you're able to conquer these five, for you to travel the PM ladder is very easy. It just now things uh, be would be dominoed in terms of more set of products, more set of responsibilities, but these value principles will remain constant. Okay, now we have covered the what are the value principles which will make you a good PM. But now, given that you guys are just starting your career, you're just in college and then moving to your career. So it is very difficult for you to learn these traits on your own as of now. This will only happen once you have demonstrated it in a practical environment. So the next two slides are more around what you can do to show a proxy of how these value principles you have already implemented and what are the different mechanisms in your own ecosystem which can help you hone these skills. So at fresher level, nobody is expecting you to be master of all of these things. You have amazing vision quality, you have amazing strategy skill sets, you're very good at breaking down complex problems into smaller ones and then solving it. But the idea is can you at least demonstrate certain these skill sets in a certain way? And that's where it is again important that if I give you an unknown problem, can you think clearly and structure it better? If I give you a feature, can you talk to users and understand the difference between need and want? If there are so many things happening, can you simplify it and make it easy for other stakeholders to consume and also to the end customer to understand what exactly you're trying to help them with. And the last is again the how do you communicate those decisions? Not only what you have built, why you have built, why you have not built something else. So these are the again proxies for what skill sets we have talked about for you, which could help you in terms of identifying or presenting yourself a better candidate in the PM space. Again, the next point is how do you build these? See, at the end of the day, everything is about repetition, iterative process. See, there is no book which I can refer and say, hey, if you read this book, you become a PM master. It's all boils down to the constant grind and regular iterative improvement. What you can do at your level is you go on LinkedIn or you go on internet, you'll see a lot of, and in your own daily consumption behavior pattern, you'll see there are a lot of products. Pick any product and write certain features, why this feature is there, find a competitor product and see why that feature is not there. What could be the reason? So try and understand why things are there. This will help you develop product thinking. See, for me, I've always done this habit that whatever products I'm consuming, I'm always updated on what new features they are built and understanding what could be the thought process of the product or the team to build a certain feature. That helps me build empathy. That helps me whenever next time, let's say if I'm talking about that feature, I know uh, what was the thought process for you to build that. So it helps me build empathy and eventually earn trust. Talk to customers. So when I say do one user interview this month is talk to people and talk in a very so there are a lot of ways where people can generate feedback. So there are very explicit ways where you go a user, give him a particular problem statement or an app to experience and say, what do you find wrong in it? Or you give him a particular feature and say, what do you think about this feature? There are other ways also where you could just try and understand what they like about it. So like, for example, for me, for all the products which I've done, whenever I travel, if I see someone consuming that product, I do ask them three set of questions. How do you come to this app? What led you to choose this? What what do you like about this app or why you are sticking to this app? And then what would you like to improve or what do you feel someone else has which you feel this app is not providing or this product is not providing it for you? So these three questions help me understand from the actual customer perspective that what exactly is happening rather than living in my own silo or in my own biases ki, hey, I've made the best of the product. Yes, third is very obvious one. You find an internship where you actually ship. See, don't chase PM titles. It doesn't matter. For freshers, nobody is looking for your product management experience. People are looking for have you demonstrated these qualities which can be utilized if I give you a particular role. So great if you can find a very like PM product internship, great. If you cannot, can you at least try and build projects which actual shipping of product? not theoretical case studies and everything. Theoretical case studies help you build the right fuel for it, but unless you put that fuel in your vehicle and move, you'll still be sitting at one place. Do as many case studies as you can do, but try and do it in group because that will help you build different perspectives. Uh, you can pick any news. So, like for example, right now, let's say Zepto is going for an IPO. What do you think they are doing right? What are the right products, levers which helps them, right? How do they reach profitability? It doesn't matter whether it's a product case study. You'll understand more about how that business is run, what are the important variables, what are the important levers for anyone to build a successful retail or quick commerce business. Last, I believe you guys are running a very good job of a good club or a society where you can actually feel accountable, take real life decisions, do something in a timely based manner. If you do this, you'll be able to at least touch base upon certain of the qualities. I think that's it from my end. I'll now leave the forum for a more conversational interaction. You can ask any set of questions which you feel, or if I am missed in the conversation, you can again ask them. Uh, there are certain questions which I've kept it for you as an opener. If you want, I can answer them for you, or we can just jump to your set of questions. Okay, so there are certain people who are
Thank you so much,
asking.
sir,
Yeah, yeah.
for sharing your insights and experience with us. I'm sure everyone gained a valuable perspective on product management and how it takes to build a successful career in it. We'll now move on to the Q&A session. Participants are requested to raise their hand or drop the questions in the chat box. We encourage everyone to make the most of the opportunity and interact with the speaker.
Okay. Meanwhile, people can ask. I'll just quickly touch base on certain questions which are asked in chat. See, when I say earn trust, it's about your team should be able to trust you to lead a project, to lead a particular task. See, the challenge in the product ecosystem is nobody is actually reporting to you. Nobody is answerable to you. They are always answerable and reportable to their hierarchy and to their hiring manager, but you guys are working together to deliver a particular product. So how would you influence someone if you do not have any authority? That's where the value proposition of earned trust comes in. See, if your team trusts you, they would do faster job for you. They would help you out if you're stuck somewhere. They would understand why you're doing something rather than only debating and just fighting with you. So that's where this quality becomes very important and a very underlying one. Okay. Okay, so there are a couple of people who are asking whether I should answer the four questions which I mentioned. Okay, so I'll cover them. Do PMs need to know how to code? See, before this transformational AI has come in, the LLMs of the world, where now shipping product prototypes have become faster, still it is not expected for you to write code. But now, given the ecosystem has evolved in such a way where you can give structured input to, let's say, Claude or to ChatGPT, it can give you a very quick prototype. So it is expected for everyone to know how to quickly prototype and show what they are saying rather than only writing it on a doc. So coding is not required, but quick prototyping definitely is. What's the most common mistake in PM interviews? Please don't jump to solutions. Try and build a structure around it. If you are building a structure and then giving answers, as an interviewer, I understand that, hey, if you have think of broad and then you have think of depth. If you quickly jump to solutions, so I'll give you a very quick example. In couple of years back, I used to ask this interview questions. Assume that you have got a tender of all the traffic lights in India, in the country, and you have paid $1 billion for it. Now help me understand, how would you monetize it? People who start jumping into ideas saying, hey, I'll show ads, I'll do this, I'll do that, it's a red flag for me, because you have not absorbed and understood what you actually have. You are not asking me the right set of questions that when you say, I've got a tender, what all is under my control? Are there any checks and balancing? Like, for example, uh, am I allowed to, let's say, show any posters on the pole of the traffic light? You didn't ask me that. You're not. You cannot uh, make the situation worse. You need to maintain the status quo and then find your creative ways. And then you build structure around, hey, there is data, there is time, attention which you're getting, there are a set of people which are coming. How do I monetize each of these entities? So this is some structure. So that is one mistake which I've seen people doing a lot, jumping to solutions. Take a step back, think it through, and then answer it in a structured way. Maybe your answer might not be that great, but at least people understand what your thought process is, not just evaluating your answer. What would you do differently if you were starting over? See, the initial phase, like I explained you, my evaluation criteria was also shipping features. It took me a quite good some time to understand that it's not about the quantity of features which you're shipping. It's about the impact or the outcome which you're doing. So I see there are three ladders. There is input, output, and outcome. Initially, I was much more input focused, which means putting a lot of hard work, putting a lot of hours, and eventually I moved to an output, which means I've shipped 10 features in a month. But out of those 10, probably one is actually resulting in an outcome, which is either a revenue or a cost saving or a value proposition exercise. So for me to understand that whatever I'm doing should be outcome backed. If there is no outcome coming, there is no needle moving, there is no metric which is moving, I'll not do it. I'll probably take that time and then do something else rather than hogging for those hours. Is an MBA necessary to break into PM? I don't think so. I haven't done an MBA and I'm pretty much happy with the progression. See, what MBA does is it basically helps you connect better, understand and appreciate businesses better. In an undergrad, you again, like I explained you're given a defined framework and you have to solve for it. MBA gives you that ambiguity flavor a little bit, and that helps you appreciate your work and deliver better. That's the only thing which MBA provides. But nowadays, it is not a mandatory criteria. It's more about whether you have the right skill sets which are required for the role. Okay. Uh, okay, and now I think we are open to questions.
Okay, so Siddharth raised his hand. He wanted to ask question.
Yeah.
Siddharth, you can speak now.
As you mentioned, sir, that MBA is not necessary, but big companies like Microsoft, JustPay, Grow, they have mentioned in their JD that without only MBA candidates can apply or MBA candidates are preferred. So, what's your opinion on that? Like from building a
See,
career perspective.
so you have to look at it from their lens. What right now you're doing is you as an applicant are looking that, hey, I've been denied an opportunity. If you look at these large organizations, why do they ask for MBA? It helps them two, three things. One is MBA means that you have invested another 1 or 2 years, which means more experience of the ecosystem. Second is these are high stakeholder places. See, in Microsoft, for you, it's not like you thought of an idea, tomorrow it will be shipped. There is a lot of alignment which you need to build within your team, cross your team, and then upward leadership. So all of this requires a little bit of seniority and better communication and stakeholder management. That's where the MBA angle becomes helpful. And based on their history, they have realized that people who are undergrad, they don't perform that well as compared to MBA. Having said that, is there a specific reason why you want to target these companies? If you generally are passionate about product management, go for startups, go for early stage companies who are ready to put a bet on you. And I believe that's a better place to be in. A ecosystem which is questioning you at the first step itself. Do you want to be there?
Okay, understood your perspective, sir.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Risha has a question. Like, Risha, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah. Yeah. You're audible.
Yeah. Hi, Anjul.
Hi.
Hi. So currently, I am doing in an internship at a startup, and I was tasked to identify the pain points of a target customer segment. Now, the issue is that the startup aims to provide civil drafting services to the clients in the USA, and they have one or two clients right now, but they want to scale. So when I was trying to interact with such people, talking to them through LinkedIn only, most of them were not replying to me. So I used the market reports and social media interactions as a proxy to understand their pain points. I wanted to know if it's a good method to understand their pain points or if there is any other way I can understand their issues.
Okay. See, the best and foremost is you talk to actual customers. Because of any situation where you are not able to, either because of cross geography or certain regulations or certain constraints, there are other proxies available. While you're talking about open media reports and everything, the best way is to learn from your competitors. So whatever product or value proposition they are solving, there must be other competitors who are trying to do either exact same or something similar in that space. Talk to, read their reports, read their product, and if possible you can also go through that journey. So like whenever I am, let's say, talking to someone in terms of job perspective, or whether I am building a partnership with anyone, I actually go through their product. I will order things from my end, I'll buy that subscription, and I'll go through that journey to understand from my own point of view what exactly are the pain points. So these are the certain cues which you can do. And another hack for you is talk to customers. How you can do is, when I say talk to customers and competitors, is you go register on the competitors website. Say, hey, I want to build, either take the license or I want to use your services. Can you help me understand these things? What are the problem statements you're solving? And sometimes people respond, given that it's a sales in lead query, could help.
Okay, sure.
But by
Thank
the
you.
way, I try and ask general questions. It's
Sure.
it's a very specific to
Sure.
your work,
Yeah.
but yes, yeah,
Okay, now Rahul has a question. He can
yeah,
unmute and ask.
Hi, sir. So,
yeah.
I'm someone who is trying to break into PM. And as you
Okay.
mentioned, doing activities like PRD, case studies, and building prototypes will help you certainly. And I have done all of that, but still I'm not able to land an interview. So, what is that one thing that matters there? Is it about college, like which college you come from, and like what is going wrong, or even like most of the JDs I see demand experience in the internships as well. So, what's your take on that?
See, I look at it from a slightly different lens. So if you look at finding a job, this is also a product. And I'm not kidding, I actually work on it that way. So let's say if I'm looking for any new job, I'll divide my task into whether my sourcing is wrong in terms of identification of the right opportunity. Or is my, if let's say if I've sourced right, is my resume or whatever skill sets I'm demonstrating, whatever medium, it could be a CV, it could be a portfolio, it could be a product prototype, is it not good enough for me to land interviews? And then go on further deep down that whether I'm able to crack first round of interviews, eventually to the final round. See where you are lagging exactly. The challenge at our age, at least the age where you are in, is you try and do hundreds of things. But my suggestion would be, find what is your bottleneck and just optimize on it. Rest of everything will automatically fall in line. So figure out where you are stuck at which stage you are stuck at, and what you need to do to gain value out of it. So when I say sourcing, it could be whether you are not finding the right people to reach out to, who can refer you, who can demonstrate that, hey, he might not have that experience, but he has built these prototypes, or I've worked previously with him and he has the right skill sets.
Okay,
Yeah.
now Weber has a question. He can unmute and ask.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, sir. My name is Abhav. So my question is,
Yeah.
how do you see PM role in a world where AI is mostly doing everything, like from coding to execution to, documenting each and everything, or building PR days, or delivering end-to-end products, right? How do you see PM role in next 10 years, and how do you see the future of product managers, where AI is getting way more critical at thinking in systems and doing stuff.
Okay. See, it's a two-part answer from my end. One is philosophically, if you look at what AI essentially has done, AI is just democratizes the information accessibility. Before, you have to go on internet, read certain blogs, talk to people to gather that experience or knowledge which is required for you to get from zero to one. Now everyone has knowledge. People can write questions, the AI will tell you. So the next set of problem statement for PMs would not be around how something needs to be solved. The problem statement for PMs would always be what needs to be built and when. When I say this, the critical thinking of कि ये प्रोडक्ट फीचर अभी बनाना चाहिए और इतना बना के हम इवेल्युएट करेंगे, ये एआई अभी नहीं बता सकता. AI can tell you these are the 10 features we need to build. Which needs to be built first? AI does not know other complexity, or you are not given enough information. But as a human, you have much more better understanding of the context. Let's say you have only one resource available. Now, even though the revenue lever might be big for a certain task, but the complexity is also high. So you'll say, I'll do it probably in the second sprint. I'll first pick a small task which has immediate revenue, which I can deliver. So this is where the value proposition would come in. And don't look at it. I've been telling this people for quite some time. It's a very same era where जब कंप्यूटर्स आए थे तो people started saying कि अब तो नौकरियां गई, अब तो कुछ नहीं बचेगा, सब कंप्यूटर से हो जाएगा. There started coming different roles, which is how do you operate a computer, then different operations, analytics, coding and everything opens up. With AI also, it's an enabling tool. How do you leverage that to do faster iterations, to learn fast and improve your decision making and judgment framework is the actual moat, which will differentiate you from any AI to replace you.
Okay, that
I hope
answers
I
my question.
was,
And a follow-up
yeah,
question for that: what
sure.
AI tools do you use in your day-to-day life working at Zepto?
See that I've tried most of them, but the liking which I've developed is Claude for coding and any prototyping, quick prototyping. For general brainstorming or bouncing of ideas, I believe ChatGPT is better. But I'll not talk about others which I don't like. But these are the two ones which highlighted. But you can also use Cursor if you want a better interface in terms of if you don't know coding at all, then cloud code could be difficult for you to understand for initial period. But Cursor could also be a good replacement in terms of just implementing code if they have a better interface, in my opinion. See, my role is not highly individual nowadays. So I don't use much of your design tools or uh, creating individual prototypes. Those I do only for my own personal projects, which I'm working on just to upskill. But majorly my work gets done within these two.
Okay, Mahendra has a question. He can unmute and ask.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, cool. So, hi Anjul. So,
Yeah.
basically, I'm working as an AI product lead in Indira Nagar. Okay. So,
Okay.
I'm giving interviews also. मतलब पहले काफी दिए हैं तो basically fifth या sixth round में mainly vibe coding round. तो उसमें बेसिकली जो मेरी अप्रोच रहती है कि मान लो पीआरडी वगैरह क्रिएट करी, पीआरडी के बाद प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हैं उनके सामने ही, तो उसमें मतलब मैं ऐसे 3-4 राउंड में 3-4 अलग-अलग कंपनीज में रिजेक्ट हुआ हूँ, ठीक है। बेसिकली आई एम आल्सो प्रिपेयरिंग विद वन ऑफ द सीनियर प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर फ्रॉम माइक्रोसॉफ्ट आल्सो, विद हर आल्सो कि मतलब सेम टू सेम प्रोसेस वो भी फॉलो ही कर रही हैं। तो अभी हमें ये फिगर आउट नहीं हो रहा है कि रिजेक्ट क्यों हो रहे हैं, कि बेसिकली मतलब आपका कोई व्यू है कि किस तरीके से वाइब कोडिंग राउंड को अप्रोच करना चाहिए?
See, it's very same like you prepare for JEE. So there are two set of people, if you also know. There are one who understands the theory very good and then practically apply it, whatever question is coming. There are certain people who are very good at exam temperament, which means is they know they don't get distracted, they don't waste time on tough questions, they go for easy ones and then move up the ladder, medium tough one, and then eventually either try or attempt the tough ones or not.
Right.
So you need to understand first where you are stuck at. Is it the interview ecosystem which you're not able to crack, or you are generally not that great in vibe coding? So first understand that and then start working towards it. There are a couple of ideas, quick ideas, which I can suggest is uh, also understand what is the expectation of the interview. Like, are they looking for you to build a prototype anyhow? That is their evaluation criteria, or are they more interested in your prompts and the way you are giving what's the structure behind it, or they are just trying to understand whether you are familiar with the product or not. Couple of
Okay.
things which you can do is there are certain things which are very constant. So make those things, uh, how do I put it? चीट शीट बनाते हैं ना, तो चीट शीट
हाँ,
बना लो ना आप कि मेरे को यूजर निकालने रहेंगे, तो आप पहले यूजर
राइट।
टेबल बना के रखो, उसको पहले ही डिफाइन कर दो कि यार मैं आपको यूजर के पर्सोना बता दूंगा, पर मोटा मोटा
ठीक।
मुझे इसी टाइप के यूजर्स चाहिए, मुझे एक यूआई इंटरफेस चाहिए, एक ऐप चाहिए होगी, अज्यूम
राइट।
अगर आपसे ऐप बनवा रहा है कोई, तो ऐप का एक बेसिक ढांचा बना के रखो ना, उसके बाद आप सिर्फ एसेट्स दे रहे हो उसको कि यार ये ऐप को ना अब आप Z5 बोल दो, इस ऐप को आप एयरटेल बोल दो.
राइट।
So see what all you can do preparation beforehand, the interview, the general preparation. Like in my space, I know that they would definitely touch base on audiences because
राइट।
there's a core part of it. So I'll prepare certain audiences beforehand कि ये shopping lover है, ये technology enthusiast है, मैं तो बना के रख लूंगा ना पहले. So this might help, but again, बहुत ही I don't know what exactly you're doing wrong, but I'm just giving a very general hypothesis around it.
ओके, ओके। थैंक्स अ लॉट।
Hmm, hmm.
Okay, now Aryan has a question. So, Aryan, you can unmute
Hello,
and
I'm audible.
yeah, you're audible.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, sir. Basically, my question is basically I'm a pamphlet designer, and
Okay.
I ask a question: is any role of pamphlet designer in a company like
In
clothing?
which company? And matlab, sorry,
Yeah,
I'm not able to understand your question.
yeah.
Can you explain a little bit of your question? I'm not able to understand it.
Basically, sir, I'm a pamphlet designer, which हम जो है मतलब प्रोडक्ट की एडवर्टाइज जो करते हैं आपने देखा होगा,
Hmm.
लाइक
Hmm.
बूट्स हो गया, शूज
Hmm.
एंड
Hmm.
एक्सेसरीज. बेसिकली मैं एक
Hmm.
पैम्फलेट डिजाइनर हूँ, डिजाइन कर रहा हूँ. सो
Hmm.
सर मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ, जो मतलब जो हम पैम्फलेट डिजाइन करते हैं, क्या कंपनी से मतलब कोई फायदा है उसका?
Yeah, depends now which company you're talking about. So let's say if you're talking the way you explained, Nike, go to Nike's website. They create very amazing prototypes or design pamphlets for their product to either for the SKU description or to overall look and feel of their marquee products. So yes, there is value proposition. It depends on where you're looking at. So if you're looking at any app which is very heavy B2B or any product which is more, let's say analytics or less core physical product, the value proposition reduces drastically. So what I'll suggest is focus on places where this skill set is valuable rather than doing a spray and pray model and trying to find everywhere across.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hmm.
Hema has a question. She can unmute and ask now.
Yeah.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. I'm Hema. Basically,
Yeah.
I'm interning at a tech company. It's been like 2 weeks now. I'm from a engineering background. Actually, my interview went like I was given a product and how I mean, why what good features could you add to that product or something like that. It went that way, and I explained it well, and I cracked the interview. It went all well, but coming into the real experience, I mean, when I am into the role, I feel it's all about me adding features. I mean, I'm always thinking like an engineer. I'm not getting that PM mindset, and I'm not understanding how to develop that.
Okay. See, like I explained in my first slide, you need to understand. So what you're stuck at here is how you should build something. You should focus more on why this needs to be built, what value it will bring. So whenever you're building something or any product feature idea, someone is telling you to build or you are thinking of your own, go with that 5 whys. That why, what would happen? Let's say if I build this, इससे क्या होगा? अच्छा ये हो गया तो इससे क्या होगा? Is there actual metric which is moving? See, this happens with a lot of product managers, especially at the earlier stage. You channelize all your energy in shipping features, and there is less visibility as well in terms of what actually all of these features are eventually culminating into, or eventually what's the package around it. But ask your seniors, ask your peers that ये क्यों बना रहे हैं, क्या होगा. So that would help you understand and prioritize better rather than building everything in one go. Like you can let go certain things and build things which are important and relevant far better than things which are irrelevant.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, sorry, it's very difficult to give you how to become better at it. Probably if you reflect back and see certain traits in my slides, that would give you some idea of how you can at least acquire certain skill sets and start demonstrating them. That will help.
Yes. Yeah, I will do that. Thank you.
Okay, now due to time constraint, we'll be ending the session. I request you all to put any unanswered questions in the Discord community. Our team will get back to you. Thank you, sir, for taking the time
Thank
with
you.
us today and for sharing your valuable insights and experience. It was truly inspiring to learn from your journey and gain a deeper understanding of product management. I would also like to thank all the participants for joining us and making this kickoff session of Product Matter 6.0 a success. Once again, thank you, sir, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
I would like to tell the participants that refer to the schedule on the website and join the Discord server to stay updated. And also, the course would be live tomorrow onwards. The content would be updated on the website itself. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening ahead.